Hello, beautiful alchemist. Happy May. Ooh, I know a lot of you are going to be feeling a relief being in this different energy. April was intense for a lot of people. We had a lot of intense events that happened, energetically speaking. I mean, we had the eclipses, then we had the full moon in Scorpio, we had Mercury in retrograde. There was a lot that pointed to revelation and transformation. And plus, being in that Aries fiery energy, there was this intensity of like wanting to get things done and wanting to create movement. But a lot of the movement that was created again was movement that was supporting significant shifts and changes. Now, of course, for some of us, this movement was felt very necessary and needed. It may have been that a lot that came up created these clarity, created a sense of clarity, cleared some pathways for you, opened up doors to new opportunity, new understanding, new realizations. And while this can be so incredible, sometimes it can be uncomfortable. And it's always making sure that we are checking our perspective, making sure that we are giving ourselves the chance to understand from higher lenses of awareness. So, April, for some, was exhausting. Whether you were exhausted from taking action that you enjoyed, it felt like things are finally kicking up, starting up, stirring up, or if it was just exhaustion from illumination, whatever it was. Now we're in May. Happy May. So, speaking of April, the oracle card that governed the month of April for us from the Energetic Alchemist Oracle deck was the Architect, which also gave us this direction to be very mindful of how we are structuring things, how we're going to plan to take action, how we're going to plan to lead ourselves in our lives, and having consideration for the type of leaders we are being, like the type of examples we are being, but also, again, the plan, the outline, the blueprint of what it is we're about to venture into, even what we have to I don't want to say like go to battle with, but yeah, like what it is that may be necessary to fight for our sense of freedom, like whether it's fighting against our old patterns, old habits, old ways of doing things, fighting against old limitations and restrictions, really again, like being that mindful, peaceful warrior in our own lives for our highest good, and really being mindful of how, again, we're structuring things. Now, we're moving into May, and it's going to have its own level of importance, but it may not feel like that same level of intensity or just different intensity or directed in different areas of our lives. So let's get into it. So, as I mentioned, we came out of Aries season and now we are in Taurus season. So, happy birthday to all of the beautiful bulls. Happy, happy birthday, Taurus. And later this month, we will move into Gemini season. But before we get into that, let's just talk about the energy of May in general. The governor or teacher of the month for May is the number 5 card in the major expressions within the Oracle deck. It is the teachings card. So we'll talk about this in a little bit. But mainly, what I want you to consider and be consciously aware of your engagement with is May is offering a lot of opportunity for us to really become aware of what we value now. And the reason I'm putting emphasis on what it is that you value now is because that may be different than what you valued in the past. We change a lot. Life gives us so many opportunities to learn, to grow, to expand. Things that may have mattered to you before that you put a lot of importance on, even the ways that you saw yourself or the boxes that you put yourself in, the roles that you had, the projections, the ideas, the ways that you identified yourself. A lot of that could have changed during Aries season, and it wouldn't be shocking if it did alter in some way. But what do you value now? Now, What are you starting to value about yourself, your life, your relationship, your friendships, your connections, your home, your stability? Like, what is it that you value? What matters? What makes you feel a sense of stability? What makes you feel a sense of security? That's what Taurus season is going to highlight for us. So we have values on the table for the month of May. But then again, as I mentioned, we will move into Gemini season, and then our communication will really have a spotlight. So, not just what we are communicating, but the message, the overall message of yourself, of your life. What is it that you are speaking into the world, whether it's about yourself, your path, or something that you're offering, some contribution? How is it that you are presenting and communicating as it relates to your interaction with others, your networking, your friendships, your, again, just contributing in any kind of way? The way you communicate internally and externally are really going to get a highlight as we move later into the month. So, let's just talk about, first of all, some of the main events for May. This is where I tell you to grab your pen and take note of some dates. So on May 1st, we have Beltane, and Beltane is a celebration of fertility. It is considered, the celebration of harvest, fertility, new life, abundance. There's a old story about this being the time where Father Sky comes into union with Mother Earth. And again, there's just like this illumination. And think of all that spring brings, like the very height of spring as we're about to move into summer. Nature, look around you, everything is coming alive, everything is getting a new breath of life. The trees are starting to blossom, new leaves, new fruits, even the flowers are budding brand new, like, but it's this reinvigoration of life within ourselves as well. Now, even though that is celebrated on May 1st, I hope that you will give yourself an opportunity to recognize this feeling of new life as it surges and blossoms all around you throughout this month. And of course, we reach the peak in summer, but for now, just be in awe of the way that life is blooming all around you, all around the earth, and recognize that mirroring of like what is blooming and starting to blossom, what is taking new life, what is bringing you air of new life, what is making you feel alive again, what is giving you like new inspiration, what makes you feel so abundant and cared for, what helps you to recognize and realize all the ways that you are supported in your life. Keep that in mind as we journey. It's a great way to direct the mind as well. Now, as beautiful as that all sounds, on May 1st, we also have Venus in a square with Pluto. So Venus is that planet of love. It's how we relate. It's our desires. It's, could be related to finances, money, these kinds of things, our comforts, desires, things that feel good. Again, how we relate, how we love, passion, the arts, beauty, all of these things are very Venusian. But when planets are in a square, they're in conflict. So there's a conflict between this essence, this beauty of Venus and Pluto, which is the planet of transformation. But you can think of it as like the energy that helps us to achieve deep levels of self transformation for the sake of reclaiming our power, really. So it's, it can sound a little scary, but it's a beautiful thing. It helps us in our way forward. It helps us to let go, step out of the old, and rebirth, reemerge into the new. So there's this energy that we start off at the beginning of this month, having a bit of reflection around what is transforming us in terms of relationship? What is transforming us as it may relate to our finances, our resources? How are we changing around these themes? And is there any power struggle that we notice within these themes? And the relationship component doesn't have to just be romantic. It could be, relationships that you have within your work environment, your friendship circles, other communities, whatever it may be. But just be mindful if you are noticing any kind of tension or relationship drama. Be mindful of how you're interacting with those energies, but more so really paying attention to how they may potentially be revealing something to you about you for the sake of your own transformation and refinement. So, we have that just on day one, but that energy will, go beyond just the first. But the very next day, we have that same planet Pluto, this planet of deep, powerful transformation, is going into retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. It will be retrograde in Aquarius until September 1st, and then it will be in retrograde in the sign of Capricorn until October 11th. But what this brings up for us is an opportunity for shadow work. Now, I know you may be thinking, like, Yolanda, you said May was going to feel better than April. Yeah, because it's more grounded, first of all. But shadow work isn't a bad word. It just, again, what is our association with these words? It's just saying that this is an opportunity to have some deep level self reflection. And because it's in Aquarius, it's like a lot of reflection around community, understanding again, like our role, our connection, our relationship to our community, our friendship circles, other communities that you may be a part of. Also around technology, we may see some transformation or a lot of attention given to how we are using technology or how technology is using us. But this will illuminate a lot of relationship to power as it relates to Aquarian and Capricornian themes. So we may notice like later in the spring that there's more of this energy of looking at the way that things may need to transform or will be transforming, or power plays as it relates to the powers that be, maybe even governments, these kinds of things. But we will still notice it more on a personal level. Just be aware that it's not strange if things come up to show you if there's any kind of like power struggle, power plays within your relationship to community, technology, just reflection, anything that is you would put in the category of shadow work, just don't resist it. That's what makes it least uncomfortable. Just think of how these energies that reveal themselves to us give us an opportunity to make changes that are for our own benefit. And the thing is, what is revealed to you, you also have choice in how you interact with it or how you respond to it. It's not like your hands are tied, right? So it's just good to know that these things are on our radar. So if you happen to encounter these energies, you don't think something is wrong, but instead you lean into it and go like, oh, all right, this is a learning opportunity. This is a growth opportunity. Or you may even witness it happening in other people around you, and you can have more compassion for them around that. So Pluto retrograde, just want to check off the list. So I know what I told you about. All right. So after this, we have on May the 7th, we have the Alchemist of the month, which is the new moon. The new moon will be in Taurus. As I mentioned before, Taurus has these themes of like what it is that we value, what it is that makes us feel a sense of safety, security, and it's also points to our sensory. So Taurus, we have to make sure that we're not being overtly indulgent or too like gluttonous, right? But really appreciating the things that make our senses help us recognize the beauty of our sensory, like the foods that taste so good, or the sounds and music, things that you love to hear, or appreciating the arts or nature, anything that is what you would personally consider beautiful, right? That's what this Taurian energy brings up for us. But during this new moon, you definitely want to consider your values. Again, the new moon is a time where we plant new seeds of intention. It's like this is the energy of breaking new ground. And so, what is it that you want to start to intentionally pour more time, effort, energy into as it relates to your values? This is also a great energy to consider how you can create methods to dissipate the madness of mind or the chaos of life. Like, how can you create structures or create methods for yourself that are going to help you streamline what it is that your goals are, what you're working towards? How can you do things in a more methodical way? Taurus can really help with that. This is also a new moon that you really may want to look at and consider for yourself. Financial planning and having time outdoors, spending time in nature. All of these things are great to consider in Taurus energy, but definitely during the new moon. And finally, looking at your routines. Again, is there a different system or method that is going to help your day to day, the routines of your life just flow more easily, make more sense? And are they aligned with what you've identified as being what you value and what's a matter of importance to you at this time? And think stability. Taurus energy is all about stabilizing safety, security. So, this new moon, really think about that. Do you feel grounded? Do you need to redirect your attention to feeling your feet against the earth, feeling reconnected to your body? Again, tap into those sensories and let you appreciate the beauty of being in body and what we get to experience being in body. What do you need to re-identify and feel safe in body? Think what makes you feel stable, secure, whatever that may be. Again, financial planning can come into play. It could be so many things to you individually, but this is a great new moon for those considerations, thinking about what works for you in life and what doesn't, and then planning around that. All right. Now, after that, on May 12th, we have here in North America anyway, well, I should say United States because I don't even know if it's true for Canada, but we have Mother's Day on May 12th. I know it's a different day in different countries, but here we have Mother's Day. I just wanted to say with Mother's Day, because over the years, doing this work, I've had the beautiful opportunity of working with so many people with so many different stories. And I myself have, my story. And these kind of holidays or these kind of days can be triggering for some people and for so many different reasons, right? And so I just wanted to say, again, it's all in how we decide to look at these days, these holidays, what's being presented to us as something to celebrate or what it is that's supposed to be celebrated, right? So of course, this is meant to be a day of acknowledgement for whomever was a mother figure or literally a mother in our lives. It's a day to acknowledge and say, we appreciate the role that they played in however they showed up in our lives. But I just wanted to say for all of us, we can also craft these days if we want to acknowledge them. I mean, we could totally say, I'm not acknowledging these days at all. But if you want to acknowledge them, you can in your own way. And it could even be simply the honoring of the archetype of mother. Like whether you had a person in your life that you felt was a mother energy or not, or you had the type of mother energy you wanted in your life or not, we can still all appreciate the archetype of mother, that nurturing energy, and turn it back into ourselves, that aspect of divine mother that lives within all of us, whether we have children or not. Like I don't have children, but I still know how to nurture myself. I understand what it means to be gentle with myself, to allow myself spaces for healing, to allow myself spaces of vulnerability. So I just say this to say, these days don't have to be what everyone else says they are. If you want to acknowledge them at all, you can really craft them to be something that you can honor rather than um, it be just a triggering day, right? So it could be a day of self-care. It could be a day, again, honoring the feminine or divine mother archetype and giving yourself permission to slow down and be more passive, more receptive that day. Allowing yourself to connect with Mother Earth, be in communion with Earth intelligence that day. And again, of course, it can be more traditional too, honoring and appreciating mother in whatever form or whatever that means for you personally. But that takes place on May 12th. So after this, my loves, we are going to be transitioning out of Taurus season. So Taurus, again, very grounded energy. We're going to start off with focusing on our values for the bulk of this month, but then the sun is going to move into Gemini. And so as we transition out of Taurus and we're, dancing with the illumination of all that we value, all that matters to us, the safety, security, stability. Now the sun is going to start illuminating our social desires and, maybe wanting to get out and really connecting with friends. Maybe that's what you recognize that you start to value. You may start to realize that this energy inspires you to make connections with other people, to network a bit, to also refine your communication. Gemini focuses a lot on how we are communicating, our communication efforts, and what your personal message is. What are you about? Like, what is your message? What is it that you communicate to the world every day? And this doesn't mean that it's like what you communicate out on a platform, not what you're putting out on social media, not what you're writing books about or teaching, not what is your message? How do you represent yourself just day to day, just in your daily life? What are you known for or as? How do you express in all levels that would translate, that would give people a way of perceiving you in a particular way? Like, what is the message of you? How is that projected? Is it because of, what it is that you tend to speak about? Do you tend to be positive? Do you tend to try to leave people in spaces better off than how you found them, so to speak? Do you show up in like expressions of love? Do you show up closed off? Are you very private? Like, what is your message and what are you communicating all levels, not just verbally, but through body language? What do you communicate through your engagements, your interactions? This season will help to illuminate this for us. But it is also, Gemini, again, a lot of emphasis on, making time to be social, spending time with friends, making new friends. Maybe you want to get out there, join some meetup groups, something like that, exploring, what's available in your community. Do you even know? Do you take time to see what is local to you? It's interesting. I have lived in San Diego for so many years. And a lot of times when we live somewhere, we just get kind of jaded by it. I think we take it for granted where we live. And of course, if I tell someone I live in San Diego, they're like, oh, wow, like beautiful weather, you're by the beaches, and, there's so much to do there. But living here, you may again be like, oh, there's nothing to do. Of course, there's a lot to do in San Diego. And it took me leaving during COVID, spending almost 3 years on the East Coast with my family and being away from San Diego, being in DC, which is very different than San Diego in so many ways. I really started to miss, like, oh God, if I was in San Diego, I could do this, I could do that, I could have good Mexican food, like all the things. I wanted taco shops so bad when I was on the East Coast. But anyway, it's just saying, like, again, during Gemini season, explore what's local to you, see what the little gems are, act like a tourist. Have you ever done like those tourist, like tour bus tours or like We have like tour trolleys here in the city. What if you were seeing your city or where you live, even if you're in the country, wherever you are, if you were going to explore it for the first time, like someone who was visiting, like where would you go? What would you do? Be playful. Gemini season gives us permission to be a bit playful and make connections in all kinds of ways. All right, my loves, after this, we have the full moon, which is the queen of the month. We have the full moon in Sagittarius on May 23rd. I just need to take a sip because I'm talking so much. Sorry. Thankfully, I still have juice in there. All right. So you can see now, even what I'm saying, like there's more of a lightness to this month, even though we always have opportunities to change, transform, or whatever. There's still more kind of a lightness to this energy. But the full moon will be in Sagittarius, which the full moon, I always say, what are you full of? And Sagittarius energy gives us an injection of exploration energy, like this essence to want to explore, whether it's mentally wanting to expand the mind or literally exploring, like traveling and going somewhere and learning through travel. But this energy is full of optimism, and it really encourages you to think of what you're aiming for. You know, the full moon also signifies ending of a cycle. So it's like, what have you become so full of, so enriched with because of what has led you to where you are now, that is now giving you this optimism, this knowing that you can aim higher, you can go beyond, you can explore even further. There's more to understand, but what a beautiful, delicious thing that is. That's what this full moon represents. This may also tempt you in this energy to reconnect with those who live far away. Perhaps you'll want to visit people you haven't seen in a while that live somewhere else. Perhaps they'll reach out and want to come visit you. It's just also a good chance to expand beyond old expectations, old limitations, going beyond. I mean, think of Sagittarius is symbolized by the archer. They have the bow and arrow. What are you aiming for? Aim higher and consider your options around personal growth. Just really be inspired, allowing yourself to be inspired or paying attention to what you are inspired by during this energy. This is the energy that says there are bigger potentials on the horizon. What a beautiful idea, right? And remember, you don't have to get stuck and bogged down in knowing exactly what that looks like. You don't have to know what it looks like. Just being open and receptive to like a new air of possibility, the openness, the freedom, the excitement, and the joy that can come with that. What if you give yourself permission to just be open to that? Now, after that, a couple of days later on May 25th, we have our final event of the month that we're going to talk about here anyway. If you want to know about other astrological events throughout the month, be sure you download my app because I do readings, not every single day, but almost every day on the app, and it's free. So if you download the app, you'll see under the free content the daily readings. And in those, I will mention other astrological events as they come up. Um, and there are also readings by sign on the app for those who are members. But anyway, if you enjoy this, then you'll enjoy those. They're like bite-sized pieces of this. Okay. All right. So anyway, on the 25th, we have the planet Jupiter, which is the ruler of Sagittarius and classically also the ruler of Pisces. It is a planet of expansion, and Jupiter expands all that it touches, but it will be in Gemini until June 9th, 2025. The reason this is significant is because for a very long time now, it has been in the sign of Taurus. So Jupiter is finally moving into Gemini. So this expands the essence, the energy around our ideas and communication because it is in Gemini, or it's going into Gemini. So this again gives some I would say emphasis on considering the message that you want to share, but also being very mindful of your delivery of words, because sometimes our intentions don't match the reception, you know? Like sometimes we think we have good ideas to share, or we may feel we are going to communicate something so clearly and so, I don't know, whatever we may think or intend, but the way that it is received doesn't always match our intention. So do be mindful when you are thinking about this, because Jupiter is in its detriment in Gemini, which means it's not very comfortable in this energy. It's a weak position for Jupiter. Now, again, Jupiter does expand everything it touches. So it is going to expand our ideas and our communication and perhaps our social engagements, but it doesn't necessarily mean the conditions are going to be perfect, so to speak. So we want to be mindful of how we are communicating in this energy, because words matter. Your words matter. Your words are magic. You are spell casting all the time. So just be mindful. It also will bring about an expansion of options that may be available to us. We may notice more options and opportunities kind of clarifying and opening up for us in this energy, but make sure, again, you're being clear and you're saying yes to what feels right and true for you. You don't always say yes to something just because it's like shiny and it's available. Really check in and make sure that it feels aligned and right and true for you. So, my loves, those are the events that we have coming up for May. Don't forget, if you have the Energetic Alchemist Oracle, pull out the teachings card. This is like the energy governing this month. Speaking of teachings and what it is we're attuning to, in this card you can see the seeker is receiving Reiju, or an attunement. I am hosting a Reiki retreat. I will be teaching Shoden and Okiden, which are levels 1 and 2 in Reiki, in September. I am so excited. Like, I cannot tell you how excited I am for this event. And it's open to people who have never taken Reiki before, but it's also open to, of course, if you want to resit. So if you have taken level 1, 2, or 3, master level, it doesn't matter. If you've done any of that before and you just want to reconnect to these energies, you want to perhaps learn from a different lens and from a different teacher, or resit if you've learned with me before, it is open to that. So the event will take place in September here in San Diego. It's 5 days. And at the end, you will be certified as a Reiki Yasui Reiki Roho practitioner. And also you'll have certification in energetic alchemy as well, because there will be both aspects within the training. There are only 3 spots left though. So the class is almost full. There are 3 spots left. If you want to join, you can go to my website and read more about it. And then you can email me if you want the registration link, and I will send that out to you. But once the class is full, it is full. So there is that. Also wanted you to know that there are some new podcasts coming up. We are now in season 12 of Reiki Radio. I hope you have been enjoying the shows. Don't forget, if you listen on a podcast platform, there are 2 versions of Reiki Radio. I don't know why or how this happened, but one of the versions does not have the most recent episodes. So you just want to check and make sure that whatever Reiki Radio podcast you are following, it has the most recent episodes. You will know that by date. So you should see episodes listed for by the time you see this video, at least by the end of April. The last episode was with Holly Hawkins about Akashic Records. And the beginning of May, the first episode we will have will be with Kim Chesney, who is the author of the Illumination Code. And then after that, we will have an episode with Amanda Jane, who is the co-author of Women in Reiki. So just make sure you are following the right podcast so you stay up on the episodes. Also want to remind you that on Tuesdays, we do have Reiki radio chats, Reiki discussions that are absolutely free. You can join me live on Zoom every Tuesday, and the link to join the Reiki chats is on the app. So go to, if you have Apple phone, iPhone, go to the Apple App Store, type in the Energetic Alchemist in the search, download the app. If you have Google Play for Androids, go to the Google Play Store, type in the Energetic Alchemist, download the app. It is free. You just use your email to register on the app. And there's lots of free content there for you, including the link to join for the Reiki chats. If you want to register and start a membership on the app, you have that option as well. But again, you have free options also. And then finally, I will be having Oracle training again. I'm so excited. It won't be as long as the one we did before with the Alchemy of the Oracle. That was an incredible class, but that was a 5-month class. This will be much shorter. So we have oracular training coming up soon, plus a free Oracle class that will happen before that. So make sure you are signed up for my newsletter so you don't miss anything. In the newsletter, you get all of the updates of upcoming classes and events. There are so many coming up that I can't wait to share with you. You also get free access to Creating with the Moon and Stars and 22 Days of Transformation. So sign up for the newsletter now. That is all, my loves. I am looking forward to some new energy in May. I hope that you are too. Let's already just embrace it with open arms. Let's go into it with that essence, the energy of Beltane, welcoming abundance and new life and new breath. Let's carry that with us throughout this month. Okay, my loves? That is all for now. Happy May. I will see you all soon. Bye for now.